This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, and there he is. Manny Navarro's with us, but tomorrow, Francis and Francisco Mauigoa, tomorrow at Caneswear between 3 and 4:30 p.m. Both gentlemen will be signing autographs for Canes fans. $39 gets you both autographs, one for each. Now, all proceeds go to the Ronald McDonald House Charities. So basically, you're making a $39 donation to charity, and you're doing a good thing. You can write it off, by the way. And then on top of all of that, you're getting 2 autographs from Francis and Francisco Mauigoa. And on top of that, you will get a special ticket to Caneswear one-day sale where they have 40 to 60% off Hurricanes apparel, headwear, and footwear. And that will be only on Saturday, tomorrow, July 13th. 100% of the proceeds go to the Ronald McDonald House of Charities. So make sure you go down there to Caneswear, 2655 South University Drive in Davie. By the way, while you're getting the 40 to 60%, you then throw the Big O 10, and you'll get 10% on top of that bitch too. Oh,
wow.
Oh,
Nice.
That's right. That's right. So what are you messing with? Let's go. Let's go. Get the Caneswear and go meet the kids. All right, now I can put on the glasses because that glare is tough. All right. How you feeling, man? You feeling good?
Feeling good, brother. How are you?
I am I'm fantastic. I'm at Acura Pembroke Pines. It's a beautiful Friday. There really isn't much to talk about, to be quite honest. There hasn't been a lot of hot button topics in anyone and any team, unless, if I want to sit here and talk about how bad the Heat offseason has been or some, shit like that. But it's kind of like it was expected, so you shouldn't be surprised, that kind of stuff. So yeah, they're just but you know what? In a way, that's a good thing. Like in your case, that's a good thing that we're not getting any negative stories about, we're watching, at Oklahoma State. Oh, yeah, no, he got, D. Yeah. We're going to punish him by giving him 50 carries in that first game.
Yeah, I'm glad that I didn't have any of those kind of stories I have to tackle this offseason, though.
Right? That's Ollie is the kid's name, right? Ollie
Gordon. Ollie Gordon, yeah.
Right. He's like considered one of the best running backs in the country. And so it's like, so he gets a DUI and then, it was embarrassing the way the coach handled it, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, really embarrassing. That's happened to me 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Yo, Roded, wow. Like, read the room, my man. Like, do you see yourself? Do you hear yourself right now? What you're saying?
Yeah.
That was bad. That was bad. They should go after him. He's a man over 50.
Yeah, Mike Gundy is he's been at this a long time, so maybe he thought that he could get away with making a comment like that in today's world, but DUI is nothing to mess with, and unfortunately, Ollie Gordon is just going to see more playing time. Now, I know he's probably getting disciplined behind the scenes. They're probably making him run extra laps or do some.
Are they?
They're probably doing something like that. I mean, they listen. Every school does it, regardless. Every one of these kids end up having to do like up downs and crawling across the field for 100 yards on their stomachs, and they do make them do this kind of stuff for disciplinary reasons. But the fact that there's no suspension and he was arrested for DUI just should tell you what a different world we live in now in college football compared to the old days when guys would get into a fight.
The coach's reaction makes it seem like, no big deal. It's really, that's the way it came off from Gundy. No big deal. And oh God, I cringe when I saw that stuff. I was like, really?
Yeah, it wasn't the best look for him. But again, it just shows you what a different world we live in college football. You got a lot of these coaches now just sort of admitting, hey, why are we doing better in recruiting? NIL. We can pay guys now, right? It's helping us So there's a different level of honesty. You just think back 10 years, think back a few years, right? When Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban were yelling at each other over paying guys, and we don't pay guys, and we don't have to do that to recruit people. And it's a totally different world now, man. Like it's just the way it is, and DUIs ain't a thing, I guess.
Yeah, no, I just nobody got hurt. Well, yeah, bro, but so we're gonna wait till somebody gets killed, and then then it's taboo. Now it's really bad. I mean, wow, that was just. I get nothing in the end is gonna happen to him. And look, dude, any of us can have a DUI, and one DUI can happen to any of us. Okay, we're all human beings. We had just a little bit too much, but we don't feel it or whatever, and we get pulled over. It's never happened to me, but I don't put it past any of us for an accident for one DUI. But you're also going to take it serious, and you're also going to be embarrassed about it and feel terrible, about it. But this the way they handle it, and that's why, in a way, it's good that it's been boring for you. You haven't had to deal with that kind of stuff, which is kudos to Mario. That his kids are he's got some pretty good kids in there right now.
Yeah, I mean, and they're his kids. This roster's been completely
Right.
flipped now, and there's whatever problems might have been on the roster before, or guys that he didn't necessarily recruit here. A lot of them are gone. I mean, the majority of this roster. I think I told you this stat earlier. I think it's 6 or 7 kids are guys that he didn't necessarily recruit here that are still on the roster.
Right.
And those have to be guys that he clearly is okay with because he's been here 3 years now. This is his 3rd year. So
Right.
clearly, even though he didn't recruit them, he signed off on them still being a part of the program. So it is what it is. But look, I think what you have to give kudos for Mario for, yes, he doesn't have a winning record here. He's 12-13, but he's completely rebuilt the roster. And if you go back and you look at this team just from an offensive and defensive line perspective, where that's where the SEC teams dominate. They just look completely different physically. Like 6'5", 300 plus pounds, grown ass men that have NFL type bodies. And that's what Manny Diaz wasn't doing here. That's what a lot of the other coaches weren't doing here. They weren't going into other parts of the country and getting big time linemen. And I think from a wins and losses perspective, that's it takes a little while to get there, right? It took his first 2 years were not great. He should have been better than 7-6 last year, but he went out, got himself a better quarterback, and he's got a really good offensive and defensive line on both sides of the ball. And I think that's why, if you're a Miami fan, you should be excited.
Anything new on the recruiting front?
Well, you're going to have a few decisions here in the next week or so. Today's July 12th. We have DJ Pickett, the 5-star cornerback from Zephyr Hills, Florida, the #1 player in the state. He will be announcing on July 17th. It's either going to be Miami, Oregon, or LSU.
Are we required to have Zephyr Hill water on the sidelines if we get him?
We may, whatever it takes to get him. I'm sure Miami will do whatever it takes to get him.
Okay.
There's a couple of other kids that I think they've got a good shot at. Jabari Antoine is another top 100 recruit, cornerback out of Louisiana, former LSU commitment. It's either going to be Miami or Florida State, most likely for him. And then there's some other kids that are announcing that I don't think Miami is necessarily the leader for. A couple of defensive linemen, Floyd Buchard from Miami Central, who's here in their backyard. Jaquez Carter, who's one of the top defensive linemen in the state. But Miami nailed defensive line recruiting last year. They got up 8 guys as part of that class last year. So it's just one of those things where you're going to have a little bit more trouble. There's some other kids that don't have commitment dates, but Miami is very much in play for. One of them is Iose Epinesa. Remember, his brother plays for the Buffalo Bills, played at Iowa. He's a top 100 kid. Out of Illinois. Miami's done a really good job recruiting him. I think it's either going to be Miami or Utah for him whenever he decides. And then there's some top receivers that we got to see what ultimately happens. I think this is going to be a big year for Miami in terms of offense and putting up huge numbers. Right now, they don't have any wide receivers per se. They've got a couple tight ends, but there's a bunch of kids they're in play for, guys that they could potentially flip. Dallas Wilson is one of them. He's committed to Oregon right now. He's one of the top. He is the I think the number 2 receiver in the state. He's a 5-star. Jamie French, who goes to Jacksonville Mandarin. He's announcing the day before the Miami-Florida game. He's a 5-star kid. Miami already has one of his teammates, Hilton Stubbs, in the class. So, as we get into the football season, there are guys that may commit right now and not pick Miami, but I think with a great season, they can flip them and get them on board by December.
It's a beautiful thing. All right, what do you got going on in the athletics so folks can check you out, my man?
Well, I just came out with a column on the SEC recruiting. I know Miami's not in the SEC, but the SEC is king in terms of getting the most players. And I just wrote about how really Oregon and Ohio State are starting to win some big wars in SEC territory. They picked up a couple big time kids in Texas. They've got kids out of Alabama. They've obviously got a couple kids out of Florida already, Oregon and Ohio State. So it's becoming a little bit more of a tighter race for the best high school recruits in the country. The Big Ten, as you know, makes the most money of any conference. They actually have a bigger TV deal than the SEC does. And I think what we're starting to see now is that change what happens on the recruiting trail. Some of these elite kids, Torian Moore, for instance, the number 1 wide receiver in the country from Duncanville, Texas. He ended up flipping from LSU and committing to Oregon. And most people thought, he's going to go to Texas. He's going to go to, one of these Southern schools. But the reality is Oregon now, with all that Phil Knight money and everything else that they've got going over there, they're making it more competitive. So you got to watch out for the Big Ten. I had that column come out. I had a podcast I did earlier this week talking about Miami's recruiting. There'll be more in the days ahead. I did that quarterback story on the 2026 guys, all the kids that are committing 2 years before they even sign on the dotted line. So there's a ton to read over at The Athletic.
Let's see. True Fin Fan is asking, is it true that Hurricane recruiting class is top 5, or am I wrong?
They're not top 5 right now. I think they are 10th or 11th the last time I checked in the team rankings. We use 247 composite because they combine all the recruiting services. But they've got the potential to be top 5. They were top 5 a year ago. They were number 4 last year, number 7 the year before that. And I think if they get guys like DJ Pickett, they get Jabari Antoine, the kid out of Louisiana, the other 4-star cornerback. They get Jamie French and pull a Dallas Wilson. Those are going to be 4 of the top, 50, 60 players in the country by the end of the year in the rankings. And that'll vault them, I think, from being right now outside the top 10 to inside the top 5 with the way the rankings and all that stuff work. Look, in the end, what you want is quality. And Mario's done that. He did that last year. There are a bunch of top 100 players. I think they had 6 or 7 last year. The more elite, top of the line kids you get, the better, because it's like lottery balls, like ping pong balls, right? You hope some of them hit, and if they do, you're probably going to be pretty good.
All right. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Manny, have a fantastic weekend, my brother. Appreciate you.
All right, brother. Take care.
You got it. And remember, tomorrow you can meet the Maui Goa brothers at Caneswear. They'll be there, and they'll be having some fun. They'll be signing autographs between 3 and 4:30 p.m., $39 for both autographs. All proceeds, the $39, go to the Ronald McDonald House of Charities. So you're basically making a donation, and you're getting the autographs. Plus, you'll get a special ticket for the Caneswear's one-day sale only, 40 to 60% off Hurricane apparel, headwear, and footwear. And that'll be tomorrow. Plus, using my code BIGO10, you'll get 10% more. Ha ha. Ha ha. Ha ha. So enjoy that. Caneswear.com.
This is the Big O Show.